good. That's right.
Money for jobs and education. Not for banks and incarceration. Money for jobs and education.
We get locked up.
They get bailed out.
We get locked up.
They get bailed out.
That's great. Yeah. I'm just saying that there do it again, man. Yeah!
Shut Wells Fargo down. Shut Wells Fargo down. Shut Wells.
Engaged in harsh treatment of prisoners. Resulting in permanent physical and psychological damage. DC residents.
Oh God.
This is an institution that runs such inhumane prisons.
This is an institution that runs such inhumane prisons.
That a Rivers Correctional Facility. Medical treatment for 1,300 men. Is provided by only one doctor.
95% of the men in Rivers are out of Washington, D.C.
95%!
Washington, D.C. is directly affected by Wells Fargo. Incarceration is the new Jim Crow. According to Michelle Alexander, black men around the country are disenfranchised as a result of incarceration.
Take your money out of Wells Fargo. Stop financing your own jail cell.
I want to share something with you. I'm working with a group of people to form a publicly owned and publicly accountable bank, a D.C. public bank. North Dakota has its own state bank. And we found out that our property taxes that folks pay in D.C. is put into this bank, Wells Fargo. The property taxes are put into this bank. Instead of putting our revenue, our taxpayers' money in Wall Street banks, we should put it in our own bank that we can hold accountable. All right? And then invest it in affordable housing and green jobs and jobs for the very communities that are being brutally oppressed by the drug war. The high unemployment east of the river. We need to address this with a political and a powerful movement.
We should be really far more motivated, not only to shut this down, but to begin to build a movement that unifies working class people throughout the city and that can take on all of the battles that these racist bosses are throwing at us. In fact, what we need is not just to close down Wells Fargo, but to close down the capitalist system.
Why we in prison in so many numbers has nothing to do with us being prone to be criminals or anything like that. It's because people make money. That's why. And we need to understand, Wells Fargo's just one of them. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Whacking Hut.
Whacking Hut, Geo Group, CCA, Corrections Corporation. We can name them all. We can name even by other corporations that aren't directly related to it. But the point is, I mean, we got people that make money off of the potions that put people to death. The shackles that are used to chain us up and march us through the street and throughout the institutions that they put us in. That's why we in prison.
Bob Barker, jail hygiene.
Because people make money. It's modern day slavery, y'all. And then when we in prison, they're making us work for nothing. It's slave labor. That's why the Occupy movement is directly related to it, because we're talking about the obscene, incestuous relationship between corporations and the United States government. They got an incestual relationship. They serve each other hand in hand, and it's time to stop. They're not looking out for us. And you know what? The other one's gonna come afterwards.
Just wanted to say, if anyone here has a Wells Fargo account, it would be really cool if you went in there, took all your money out, and closed your account.
Because the war on drugs targeted African-American young men, and it's a sham.
They call Hispanics illegals and put them in cages from Texas to D.C. and destroy their families. They put the black male face on TV and tell everybody that he is a criminal, like it doesn't have any influence on our black youth today. Sexual harassment is rampant within the prison system when it comes to women. But it's being disclosed because they don't want us to make connections between the prison industrial complex and our everyday ATM transactions.
When you come out of these prisons, you have a scar for the rest of your life. So when you check that box that says, I was a criminal, now you're in a salary cap of $8 to $10 an hour for the rest of your life. You know, for most people. So who are you going to support with $8 to $10 an hour if you have kids, if you want a family? You can barely support yourself with that, right? But the system, it ties in together. It's all corporate greed.
Okay.
Are you here as part of the protest, or did you just happen to be by?
Yeah, no, I came out here to raise my voice.
Raise your voice. And so how long have you been dealing with the prison industrial complex problem? Like, how long have you been protesting against that?
Oh, now I haven't been organizing around it specifically. I've always raised my voice whenever I had an opportunity, because I've known for forever that they're about this pipeline.
Okay.
You know, from cradle to grave for especially African American men.
So why do you think that not much has been done about it so far right now?
Well, I wouldn't say not much has been done about it. If we look at what, you know, it's been exposed and people are doing something about it. Now, I don't know, you know, maybe it's not massive, but we have folks, for example, Marion Wright Edelman. I mean, you know, that's part of what she has preached about and educated us about in terms of children, African-American children. And remember, well, a few years ago when American Corporation, whatever that corporation is, tried to put a prison in Ward 8, and the people rose up and said, no, you won't. So it's not like we've been passive. It's not like people have been passive and silent about it. And there are folks who are out there fighting against it.
So what do you think are the chances of the people defeating the prison industrial complex?
Oh, I believe I'm an optimist. I know if people organize, we can win and defeat any kind of oppression. Now, hopefully, this is sort of like a springboard to start the organizing process in the District of Columbia. Well, not started, because there are already folks that deal with political prisoners and deal with prisoners. It's already happened. But hopefully, this will be a springboard, you know, building on the foundation that's already there to mobilize and organize more people to raise their voices.
So, do you think a mass movement is what it's going to take to bring down the prison industrial complex?
Not necessarily a strong movement. It doesn't have to be mass, but if a number of people are dedicated and focused, and then we get the commitment from the folks who support these folks or who buy stock in the corporation of prison, the prison corporation. If we stop folks from doing that, that will bring it down. So it's about, in my opinion, it's about being consistent and having perseverance and tenacity.
I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
If you could say anything to the CEO of Wells Fargo, what would it be?
Yeah, have integrity. Sir, have integrity. Get out of the business of supporting prisons. Have integrity. Pay your taxes. Have integrity. Fight against corporate loopholes. That's what I would say.
As I was looking inside, I saw Wells Fargo walking around with the lollipops, giving them to their customers. What the fuck? You're really, stay with us, here's a lollipop. You want a lollipop? I'll give you a lollipop if you stay with us. Keep your money in here, we need to incarcerate our brothers. Thank you.
But in what capacity are you here at the Wells Fargo protest?
Oh, I'm supporting the Occupy movement.
Now, I was interested by something you said earlier. You said, as a solution to the prison industrial complex, to end capitalism. Can you explain that a little bit to me?
Well, sure. Capitalism requires there be super exploitation of African American and Latino workers. It's part of the nature of the efforts to maximize profits. So they use all kinds of divisions to do that. And part of keeping people in their place, so to speak, is to have a state apparatus that actually intimidates and incarcerates people to weaken those people in the potential struggle for revolution.
Some people would say that liberalizing the economy and making fewer things illegal, for example, like making pot legal, would also be a way of alleviating the prison industrial complex. Do you agree with that?
Well, I would say that there's any number of laws that are used to keep people oppressed, and I think that most of the laws that lead to people's incarceration are laws of that sort. So, of course, the drug laws and so on are all tools to keep people super exploited. So yes, I mean, I would be perfectly happy to see the end to the drug laws.
But do you think that the free market is a way to?
Hey, Mike, where'd Brian go?
He's getting his bike and he's riding up.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that the free market is a way to resolve these issues?
Well, no, because the free market isn't free, and the first part of that is that if there ever was a really competitive economy, what happens in competition is that some win and some lose, and so you end up with large monopolies, and you end up with a handful of people controlling the economy, and with their control of the economy, they also control the politicians and the state. So you end up with, the free market ends up a very unfree, monopolistic capitalist system.
So your position is that something like the prison industrial complex is inevitable no matter what sort of system you have, except for an end to capitalism.
Well, yes, I think a communist society based on equality and meeting people's needs would not have a prison industrial complex by any means.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That was easy.